Really happy to be with you all. Yeah.
Likewise.
An absolute honor. Same.
Perfect. And we're in there. Let's see who's joining us on the stream. And of course, we'll allow everyone just a minute to join us. Excellent, excellent. Okay.
We're not recording, right?
We are now. Perfect. Okay.
Alison, where are you?
Muted.
She's on mute. That's where she. Here, I can help.
Oh, am I on mute?
Not anymore.
Hey, sorry, I didn't see. Okay. Yes. Hi, I'm in Marin County, just north of San Francisco right now.
Oh my God, I have a very good friends there.
Oh, lovely.
Maybe you know Richard Unger, who is an amazing palm reader.
Oh, you know, that name sounds familiar, but I don't. I'm just actually staying here. That name does sound really familiar.
Yeah.
But I'm just here waiting out this whole time.
Yeah.
I'm a friend's
Oh, okay.
coming back this week, and then I have to leave. So I'm kind of homeless right now, but hey, this is a great time to be homeless in. So I'm grateful.
Exactly. Yeah, he's in Socialista, you know. That's
Oh yeah, just down the road. Yeah.
You should go see him because he's an amazing guy.
I'm right next to Spirit Rock Meditation Center. It's right there. So
Beautiful.
bless you, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kelsey, where are you?
Hello, blessings. I am in Maine, in the Northeast United States.
Beautiful. Did you go to the beach already, or does it allow you to go?
Yes and no. I mean, the parks are technically closed, the state parks, but I'm surrounded by water. I'm on the Kennebec River. We have a pond. We have nature preserves. So I'm pretty much in the wilderness, which is great. So I don't really need to go anywhere to be here now.
Right.
Nice.
That's so crazy. I went whitewater rafting on the Kennebec.
Wow.
Okay.
This
Nice.
is where I grew up, actually. And the Kennebec is an Abenaki word. This is Abenaki land here in coastal central Maine. And this is home. So I'm back home after traveling the world for many years. And now just feeling grounded in my roots and just going deep with my family. It's a really beautiful blessing to be here. And I'm excited for this discussion, for this weaving of the word and consciousness, and I'm curious where you all are.
We're not sure. Well, we never are, so. And what's your real name, Source?
Oh, Kevin. Yeah. I didn't realize it was on Source Radiance. Nice. Yeah, Kevin. Well, I'm in Hollywood, Florida.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I hope the mall is not open, right?
Legit. I love it.
My eldest daughter was born in Hollywood, Florida, home on the canal.
Oh, really? Nice. Yeah, Hollywood's the vibe. I love the energy in the space. It's really. I used to stay in a few spots down here, like in Miami and throughout it in Fort Lauderdale. Something about Hollywood I really gravitate towards in terms of having a home base or foundation here in Florida. Yeah. So it's the vibe. And where are you at?
I used to live in Hollywood, so.
Yeah, Kelsey knows. Kelsey knows.
You used to live in Hollywood, Florida?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I met Kevin there. We were friends.
Yeah.
Oh.
Exactly.
All right.
and where are you at, Itzhak?
I'm in Manhattan, in New York.
Okay, nice. So we got, man, yeah, I like it.
All different states.
Yeah, exactly. And like coast to coast, in the bottom, top. I like it. I like it. We're bringing the energy.
Absolutely.
You guys got that Northeast energy popping. I love it.
We might as well get right into it because we're kind of like tapping onto the subject matter here anyway, which is infinite possibilities. You know, we are all very powerful manifestors. And I mean, you know, we could talk about all the various experiences that we've had, and the places that we've been, and the people that we've co-created in our lives. And right now is a very, very interesting time to really think about what we're doing with our creatorhood. It also brings up the question of, has anything changed? You know, is the quantum realm still the quantum realm, even with COVID-19? You know, these are the questions that people are asking, and we have some of the answers, you know, from our own experiences, and that's what we're here to share. So it's like we had a really great conversation yesterday, and I'd love to just start with you. You know, what is it that what have you experienced in terms of manifesting? You know, are there any new principles that are coming up in your reality? Are there any new ways that you're experiencing your creatorhood and your reality?
I think that pretty much, you know, for the last 25 years, I do shamanic work. So, for the last 25 years, I'm basically living the same ideas or the same mission. And for 25 years, I hear, or pretty much 25 years, I hear about the shifting of the axis of the earth, and the new Pachacuti, the new Nocturne, the new period of time that is arriving. And so, as I said, I think yesterday, that it's all on the program, you know. So I think that for many people it might be a shock, but I think that in many ways we are living this prophecy, and it's not going to be easy, and it's not nice for many people to have to change, but that's how things happen, you know. Like when we kind of in a period of a cocoon, we don't really know. We know what we used to be, and that's the nightmare that we were talking about, the life of illusion that Western civilization was so good at perpetrating. The life that is up to you. It's nothing to do with the community. It's up to your mind. It's, you know, you're a great capitalist. You don't really have to care about other people. The strong people survive. The weak disappear. It's the regular evolution of life. You know, all that. I mean, I don't want to use harsh words, but it is all the everything that we see collapsing around us. We know that if somebody is getting infected in China, it goes straight to San Francisco, and it goes straight to Milano, and it goes from Milano to the United States, and it goes to the Amazon. And we talked about it yesterday, that the tribe that is so remote. I think yesterday I didn't tell you, but I got an email that there are 14 people of that tribe that is so remote in the Amazon already infected. So, you know, it's not just ideas that that are changing, but it's also our physical body is infected by it. So, what changed for me is just more conviction that our teaching or our is so important at this time. If we are absolutely, it's not frivolous. It's not something that it is not important. I think that we have to understand that we do work with people spiritually or with the ideas, but it's essential for survival, and that's what shamanic work is. Shamanic work is not spiritual at all. It's really about using spiritual aspects or spiritual tools to make sure that our own survival as a human race in a complex world system, it works well, and so the human race will survive. Because as we said yesterday, that at the end, all the shamans are recognizing that the earth will survive. I mean, that's there's no questions about it that we are all human. That all humans are spiritual bodies, and if we're not going to be here on this earth, it's not going to be the end of the world. It might be even better. So if we want to be here, we have a choice. And that's really, I think, that the important part is that it's nothing to do with anybody else. We create the global warming. We creating the catastrophes that we are bringing on ourselves. We are our worst enemies. And I think that we need to really, all together, is to bring a new dream of all dreams, of community, of self-responsibility for others, love. I mean, it's all in the spiritual teaching. It's nothing new. That's the whole thing. There's nothing new. It's all already written.
I'd love to speak
like
to that. Yeah.
in the Bible, the Bible, God sent the flood to remind people on their commitment to society and goodness, and so we forget. So.
Very true. Very true. Kelsey.
My waves, you felt me.
It's so funny that it's like you were using the word, dreams and weaving, and that is a lot of the vocabulary that Kelsey and I have been using in our conversations lately. How are you relating to this, Kelsey?
Yeah, thank you so much, and I love listening to you, Itzhak. That's I'm totally with you there, and yeah, this is the collective dream. We are living in a waking dream, and this is something a lot of us have the awareness of. And the beautiful thing about this time is it's a catalyst for a greater awakening. I feel like so many people are faced with this mirror. I brought this mirror to show us that we are all divine reflections of each other. And here's this arc line, and our palms open up, and we are the receivers and the projectors of reality. So now at this time, we are in a greater heightened awareness of consciousness. For those who have already been aware of the collective, it's almost like the quantum field has been intensified because so many frivolous distractions of the mind space of life as we know it have calmed down, and everyone is, sheltering from in place, or they're home in their houses. They're less distracted. So we're looking at a little bit of a clearer mirror now on an individual basis and a collective basis. And we're really feeling these waves of collective fear are more unified. And then also the waves of love and generation of light are also more unified because we're less dispersed and scattered in our day-to-day. So I'm feeling everything so intense, so vibrant. The pulsations are strong, and yeah, it just feels like this is a time of prophecy. This is what we're here for. We are the ones here now together on this panel, everyone viewing, just the gratitude of being alive in this time and coming from that space of every day. Like Itzhak was talking about the shamanic world being not so much spiritual and woo-woo and esoteric or mystical in nature. It is, but it is because all is. But it's very fundamental also. For me, it's like, how do I relate with the foundational building blocks of life and survival and thriving, the elements, every day connecting with fire, with air and breath, with earth and the tangible nourishment and the solidity, and with water, and really working with these four primary elements and giving thanks and honoring them and having them in my conscious present awareness at any time I'm in relationship with them. And from there, having the awareness of one, of the Akasha, or the unified fields, and being able to communicate to, like, when I hear where each person is, and now being able to connect via Zoom, via Facebook, using technology as a way to actually be more connected in this time where we feel a physical, maybe separation or distance. It's bringing us closer together, and I'm able to feel through my own self-awareness, my heart and my vibration, my consciousness connecting to Manhattan, to San Francisco, to Florida, to all these places all over the world, like threads of golden light, and also to the elders and honoring the masters that have taught us everything that we know, whether they're physically incarnated or in another reality, in another dimension, calling that consciousness in. And that was a big part of my intention. It's like, I love to share from my heart in the present. I can't script this. I pray and I call upon the consciousness that wants to come through, and I call upon these higher vibrational forces and intelligences and say, speak through me and show others that reflection of, please come do this with us. Now, when you have this time and space to be more clear, to be more centered, bring your intention there. Look towards the people who lit you up and inspired you, or the sacred teachings that have opened your heart, and call upon that intelligence and share that and hold that space. And I really love what Itzhak said about community also, because I've been tuning in a little bit to the summit, and I'm like, oh, what if Kelsey Yendell asked me for what's your website? How do we get a hold of you? And I'm like, I'm a grassroots type of person. Like, if you want to get a hold of me one-on-one, I can open infinite possibilities, infinite doors for you for where I'm at. But I'm here on the ground, calling the elders of the community who live on my street and checking in with them, and, making sure my family is okay, and planting my garden, and, communing with nature, and just honoring what comes into my field, and not so much saying here are my teachings, but just being myself. And I feel like that's the invitation that I want to offer to everyone who's tuning in, and just putting that collective intention to the world. Start with being within in this time and connecting to what inspires you. And there are infinite possibilities in this time. I'm really excited for what's going to come from this shift in collective awareness, and the unity of feeling, okay, do we want to feel this tension or anxiety or fear, or do we want to shift our focus to okay, now we have space and time, and we can generate collective resources, and what can we create? I feel like this is a big shift, the flood, like Itzhak said, here's a flood of awareness coming through. What are we going to do with this? How are we going to channel this? What direction are we going to unite in? So I just come with those questions for myself and for everyone. And yeah, we'll see. This is a big piece of it. Thank you so much, Kelsey Yendell, for inviting us and just creating this now moment for us to weave. Weaving and dreams are a big part of it. What is your vision? What is your heart calling for? What can you do on a daily basis that allows your thoughts, your words, and your actions to be in harmony and integrity with the truth within? And just stay focused on that every day. And that's going to fill our cup. That's going to fill us and take care of us, keep us vital, and ripple out into the earth, and allow humanity to rise in the way that this greater intelligence is asking us to in this time. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kelsey. Thank you, Itzhak. I mean, I am just so honored by this. This is my nourishment. Being able to be in the space with you all, and to really just experience the wisdom that you've cultivated over your years. This is so special, and I love how we're tying into each other's essence here. Kelsey, you start talking about these questions that we can ask ourselves, and I find, okay, if I have an answer, and I have a vision, it's then what do I do? And I feel like I want to ask Kevin this question, what's next?
What's next? Beautiful shares. Thank you for that. And when it comes to the idea of what we do with awareness, as it's awareness by itself doesn't mean anything. We have to know how to apply it. And when I navigate in creatorhood and understanding is that everything is always showing up as a service, right? No matter what it is. And I know you both mentioned where it's not necessarily a spiritual thing, but the way that we kind of function in creatorhood is understanding that everything's spiritual, but spiritual isn't just out of touch. It's literally involved in everything. And the way that we function, it all links back to the nature of our own spiritual capacity, like our depth of connection and capacity of presence. That literally dictates all of our choices. We build a framework of our beliefs around it. So when we're exploring life and the way that things show up, since consciousness in life is always looking to be its fullest expression, and that's what nature shows us, all we'll ever do is create experiences to reveal where we aren't being that, so we have the opportunity to shift, right? And so the ways that we look to explore is what's next. It's where can I step into a fuller expression of myself? Am I being the fullest expression that I'm being in my relationships, in my contribution to the world, in the things that I get, hold value to? And for me, in order to really know where to go forward, to have a sense of direction, you want to know where you are and how you feel about it, and then where you want to be and how you feel about it. And in the space in between is all the experiences that reveal the necessary insights for us to make changes on either the way that we act or move, or continue the course if it aligns with that. So in that respect, we have this thing called like the clarity of pursuit, and that's where you break down, with this information that we have, what does it offer me an opportunity for? Right? Like you want to take that account. There's an opportunity for me to get more deliberate in how I take care of myself and those around me that I'm responsible for. There's a clarity of what ways can I create more sustainability in my life and guide others to do the same. What ways can we see how we can synergize more than we have before? And experiences like these are like those beautiful offerings of the demand of more of what we're capable of. But we don't always know what we're capable of until we create experiences that demand it of us. And that's the beauty of creation, is that it's always offering an opportunity to step into something greater. And that's the actual point of it. So when we explore in the life beings of what do we do next, it's always twofold, right? Like life isn't one or the other. It's what do we integrate that it's time to honor and acknowledge with where we are. And then what do we step into that is the next expression of us living our lives in every respect. And that, to me, what's cool is that never changes. Like that, the fractal capacity of that on an individual and a neighborhood and a nation and a globe and then a planet when we get into the intergalactic game, right? No matter what, fractally that applies, because we're always going to be looking at the nature of our sovereignty in one space and the way it relates to the sovereignty of the whole. And our ability to know and ask that question of us. Where am I in my life and how do I feel about it in relation to this? Okay, here's what I like, here's what I feel like is off, here's what I'd like to change. Okay, what's the next step I can take to do that? I could start devoting a little bit more time to this, right? And now you're starting to actually create measurements of self-management. And then the other aspect of that is the emotional maturity that's necessary for us to actually move forward, since everything's driven by emotion. Am I okay with feeling afraid, and can I honor that feeling and make this choice anyway? Do I feel anger come up, and am I okay with anger? Let me address that real quick, and then what can I do with that energy and information? And so for me, when we explore what's next, it's always that offering. It's what I see on a collective scale, and this is just the way I live my life personally, is if everything is always a sacred opportunity and an offering of what we can expand into, then that would suggest that we're constantly looking at where our next stage of growth is as humanity. And if it's not a war that gets our attention enough to create sustainable change, if it's not the earth offering its beautiful gift of its own growth, of tornadoes or hurricanes or earthquakes, because the earth is growing and shifting and doing its thing, it doesn't create disasters, it just does its thing. And we thinking that we could build some structure that somehow sustains the changes of the earth, right? And it moves. It's as much as it can be painful if we experience the intensity of, say, people we love transitioning, it's still an offering of insight of what do we who are still here do with that information. And so if these certain things weren't enough to create sustainable change, and now we create the idea of this experience, and even regardless of any concept of conspiracy theories, man-made or natural, they both serve the same purpose. It's, if here's where we are in the collective, what does this offer us about what we're doing, right? To know where we're aligned or misaligned. And then what is it we want to experience instead? And what do I have to accept about myself and then make a movement toward to see that become the next stage of reality and experience? And that's, to me, what excites me. The idea of what could come next is if for so long we've witnessed certain things take place, and rather than in that moment choose to raise our standards to step into a greater embodiment of responsibility, maturity, of empathy, and of deliberate intent, and we're not actively applying those on a regular basis, you know how reality creation works. If you ignore what's there for you to address in order to expand, you'll just create that louder version of it to then finally make the decision that takes you there. And so this is where we're at, and that next iteration of, is it time for us to speak up more, come together more as a people, navigate things differently, not depend on governments or other things to do things for us, but actually take upon it ourselves to show our governments a way that can be done, because we're way more collectively powerful to function. And since the government's just people, they have to be shown a greater space of awareness too, just like everything else. And that capacity of applying that awareness is the next step. It's our next step of emotional maturity. Can I actually process my emotions and hear what you say, especially when we disagree? Can I see where we can take more initiative on creating more sustainable means for each other, and then also navigate what we've already created, since it's already here and we can evolve past it, but it's not going to be ignoring that it's here, right? If we're going to create a new economy, new education, new sustainable, nourishing spaces, we're not going to do that while disregarding what we already created. We're going to do it and navigate people through what we created out of misalignment to show them what it looks like to live in a more aligned space of it. And to me, that's the next capacity for us all. And that's what experiences like this got us activated to step into. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Woo-hoo. Amen, brother.
So I love it. I love it. I love that. I love what's happening. I love these conversations, and that we're all stepping in that space with whatever gifts and roles that we play that support that. If we keep expanding in the greater capacity of our sovereignty, we contribute greater to the all through our very nature. And that's such a big thing, and it's such a beautiful thing, and it's what we're already naturally doing. We're just becoming more conscious and deliberate about it. That's, I think that excites me the most too, while we're at it. Just to cheers to that.
Yes. Cheers.
Put that in water and drink it.
I love it.
Allison, how is this landing with you?
Yeah, I'm speechless because everyone's been saying. First of all, you guys, thank you. Back up a minute. Bless you. For this space, holding this container. It's so beautiful. And, this is what it's all about, right? It's everything everyone's been saying. I resonate with each one. It's like this confirmation. And I've been here for 2 months by myself and kind of really was definitely staying away from any news or anything and just doing my own thing. And so to hear this weekend has been so encouraging. I'm even being careful what I'm tapping into, because there is so much great stuff coming through. But even that, I wanted it to be, I got really cautioned early on. I want it to be my own experience, so I know, so then I'm grounded. And then I can go out and all this is just like, oh, that's confirmation. You said it so much more eloquently than I could have, Kevin, so I'm not even going to try and repeat anything. What the aspect, me coming with this, with your question, I looked at this morning and was contemplating it, and it's like, what's new? And what came to me was the scripture in Ecclesiastes that says there's nothing new under the sun. So it's all here. It's already here. And it's for us, like everyone's saying, it's to tap into that, which comes back to ultimately what it's saying, it's us, and then we're going to reflect. So I love that scripture, and I'm like, okay, so if there's nothing new, this has all been here, what is my responsibility? And for me, it would be agreeing totally in alignment with everything everyone said. The only not part I just kind of also add, my part I'd love to add is going back to the roots of tribes, of what the indigenous cultures have to offer, because they are the first peoples, the First Nations. They had it all right, and we've shunned it, done such horrific things to them, and taken away their teachings and people groups, I mean, I've lived amongst, I lived 2.5 years on the Crow Indian reservation. I lived with the Batwa up in the mountains in Africa, in Uganda with the mountain gorillas. I lived in the Amazon for some time. And just living and learning amongst these people is pure life. It's pure essence of what this is all about. And I remember when I was, in those, and even in those on the plateaus of Tibet, hiking and sitting with nomads and eating, pretty, whatever, you eat whatever they give you because it's I think the right word is the right gesture, and you don't want to be, like, I'm not going to have that, compassionate to them. And so you partake in whatever they give you with gratitude. But I couldn't even speak to them. So many of these tribal groups that I've been amongst, there was no communication as far as we couldn't speak. But I had the best conversations in my life with those people that I will hold dearly in my heart for the rest of my life. And I used to be amazed at that. No conversation took place here, but everything took place. We got each other, and that's what we need to come back to. That's that's a part of with everything we're saying too and expanding. I just think, whatever's going on out there, it's doing its thing. It's totally doing its thing. But it's so to bring ourselves back to those grassroots and to go back and learn. If I know there's been I worked with a lot of reconciliation amongst Native Americans and stuff, and that's been going on for years, but it's still kind of in man's way about doing it, and kind of still one-sided, like, you're our project and we're going to make you. Not our project, we're all one, we're all a part of each other. And so, it's interesting because I have to stay in America right now, and I have a hard time staying in one place. I kind of lived many other places. My practice is serving medicine to parents of, like I shared yesterday, of children that have transition. My oldest daughter, who was born in Florida, I just was there a few months ago releasing some of her ashes in the canal where she was conceived and born home. And a beautiful heron flew right by me. Its wings just, it's just like, she's here. She's very much here. But I would love to ask, is that one thing with, as far as the medicine, because I'll back up, so now I'm in the States, I can't take people down to where I sit with the medicine as far as ayahuasca. And do you see if that's changing with any of this? Is that medicine, I've got my own, I love the medicine, I believe in the medicine, but I've seen such horrific things that, again, it's been taken for granted, it's been abused, it's been used. And I hope this isn't going off the point, but because I believe so much in this and what consciousness is brought into what we're going through now, is it something that's is she still going to be there for us?
I love that question.
Alison, I hope so. We are for too long using the plant medicine of the Amazon. But about, I don't know how many years, maybe 12 years or so, I was in the Rio Negro area in Brazil. And the Tucano chief came over one afternoon asking us to come back in a month, because they're going to do a big ceremony. The shamans of the Tucanos and the Berebere and the Pashuna and the other tribes, they all came to that conclusion that the ayahuasca plant is very angry at them. I thought that they were talking about us, that we abused the ayahuasca, but they're actually talking about themselves. And it occurred to me that we successfully brought the the greedy aspect of our life, money, to the Amazon and all the other indigenous cultures. And so they became greedy for money, and we are greedy for spirituality in the same way. So it feeds on the same levels that we are, because we have, I mean, I don't want to say for everybody, but we are disconnected from our spiritual roots. And so many people in the Western world, the industrial world, the more sophisticated iPhone, Google, Facebook, we are all feel empty. And so if at all there is an answer for that, is that we have to feed the roots, the spiritual roots back. So we don't have to go to other people to rob them of their, or to experience that, and in so doing rob them of their spirituality and their way of living. And I think that the main question that I ask usually people, I was speaking about it in a very prestigious plant medicine in London a few years ago. Of course, I was never invited again.
I can believe it.
There we go.
But I was asking one question. Do you know what's the cost of your every ayahuasca drink you drink? Because most people pay $200 a night, which is about maybe 6 months of living in the Amazon. And if you have 80 people or 100 people in a ceremony, what does it do? It, those shamans take half of it to the Amazon, and if you come back with $40,000-$50,000 to the Amazon, you don't share it with the community, which is a sharing community,
Yeah.
You disseminate the economy, the social economy of the tribe, because all of a sudden there's the haves and have-nots, which are duplicating our own society, and that's what they want. So it breaks the family structure, it creates classes, and it breaks the fabric of the society. So I'm asking just people who drink ayahuasca if they are aware of that.
Good question.
If they are aware that every drink, for every vision that they get, what's the cost of that vision? And what bothers me most is not that they drink and they have vision, but do they follow up on that vision? Do they actually learn from this vision and make the world a better place? Or is it just for themselves to feel good about themselves, to feel the void that they feel inside themselves? So what basically they are doing the same thing as alcoholic or sex addiction or drug addiction are doing, is filling up the empty space. So I hope that this time, which is a beautiful time in a way for vision quest, for individual vision quest and collective vision quest, will be a time for us to look inside ourselves and find our spiritual roots and feeling more comfortable with our own bodies, so we don't have to go and raid the forest for medicine and for the whole culture that came with ayahuasca is very troubling to me personally, because I've seen what's happening, and I've seen it was happening in the Amazon with those people who are serving the drink, and for the bartenders that are giving it here in the United States or Europe. I call sorry for that, but I call the ayahuasca, or the people who are serving it in the United States and in the West, I call them bartenders, because they are really not shamans. They really they know how to pass it on, the drink, but they don't make it because they buy it online. They make it in their own kitchen, but they don't pray over it. they are disconnected from where it grows. I mean, let's just be frank about that, right? So they are bartenders, but they are not. They really don't know how to hold space and make sure that if something bad happens, they know how to work with the energies. So I don't know if it's if it's on topic, but I do hope that this time people will understand that looking deep into the spiritual root, it does not needs to include plant medicine. It can, but it needs to be done with people who knows and people who can really hold space for them to have to him. But it's really it's a deeper work, and that's really what we are asking now, is for people to go deeper, to not to be this shallowness of new age. Everything is beautiful, everything is butterflies and rainbows. I hope I'm not too harsh.
No, I'm totally in agreement and everything. Like it says, I so feel this is about our own personal journey right now, deep, and then obviously as we do that work, it's going to be out there. So I totally agree with you. Thank you.
I just want to say that I'm not against people using ayahuasca or not Yahe or Natem or all those names. Or I mean, I take people to the Amazon to experience that, but I take them to. I mean, I prepare them with the language of shamanism, with the working with spirit, being in the Amazon and the Andes beforehand, so they understand the concept of all of it. So when they do see spirit, they know how to handle that. So I do believe that, but it has to be done in such a reverence way. You can't just walk into Peru and spend 3 months there and then come back to Amsterdam and say that you're I'm a shaman and a ayahuasquero. So it just ain't gonna work this way.
Good. Agree.
When with what you guys shared, I think one important thing to navigate with this is, because this alludes to the nature of what we would be creating going forward, is nature and life and creativity all flows from the inside out. Like that's literally how all things function, right? Internal cause, external effect. And we experience misalignment in life when we play with the opposite, meaning that we think it's some reason it functions from the outside in. And so all conflict exists in a misalignment with how nature is supposed to function. So if we are looking for things outside of us to give us what we don't feel like we have, we perpetuate misalignment until it becomes loud distortion, and everything that we create will reflect that. Because the thing that everyone continues to overlook, regardless of the modality or the avenue, the answer is us. Like it isn't one thing or another. The answer is what lives within us being brought forth, right? Everyone being connected to the wisdom, the infinite wisdom that lives, and it lives in all of nature. And nature is such a beautiful reflection of how everything functions, and not just the nature in terms of plant and earth-based nature, but the nature of space and universal capacity, and the way that consciousness functions within emotion and imagination, and the way that this works. So when we even navigate the world of plant medicines, what I see in a lot of communities too is the complete oversight that the plants aren't giving us something we don't have. Like those spaces that we tap into is where we actually exist, right? It's just an access point, because whatever our journey is, we're not accessing it on our own in that moment. So people look for the guidance of how to tap into it. And then what you mentioned, Itzhak, with when you then tap into the space of you, do you actually receive the information offered and use it? And then not only do you use that, do you also start to recognize the process that the journey took you through, so you can begin to actually sit in a quiet space and literally access that within you on your own to receive wisdom. Because the reason why like abuse happens in those communities is when people start thinking that's the thing that gets me there, and not this is the thing as an access point supporting my ability to get there. And that keeps us going back to the internal, bringing that external. Because if we keep making it about the outside, that's how we usurp everything. If we keep making it about the internal, then we see the gift of everything and its offering. And everyone who's more in a sacred alignment with their practice, as you're expressing, doesn't treat it like a recreational thing or something that's just going to give you this or is superficial. It actually brings you to the depth. Like yoga isn't gonna get you emotional alignment, and neither is plant medicine. Emotional alignment happens from the awareness that you end up tapping into with your emotions, with your mind, with your body, and then integrate it. Because plant medicine just bring it to your face, like, here's what you got to deal with, here's the things you've been overlooking and neglecting and suppressing, and this is what we get to face. And then we take that and go, oh shit, I got work to do, right? And we do that work because it has to be sustainable, and sustainable only happens through embodiment, right? Like the gift of meditation, or the gift of plant medicines, or the gift of breath work, or the gift of some of the work that we do within this practice, which is all similar stuff, but is the revelations it offers. But the revelation is just a gift of insight. The demand of consciousness is now you live the example of what this looks like, because that's how we guide. We don't guide through dictation. We don't guide through do what I say, not what I do. We guide through the example of what it looks like to live it. And so all these things that we have at our disposal, when we bring more awareness to the way that life functions, people can start to see the way these things are utilized in a way that's not the answer themselves. They support the guidance of showing us where the answer is within us, and then we become the living answer as a light to shine on what's possible. And I feel like that's the key to it, because anything that is a physical experience is already the side effect from whatever's happening inside. All inner conflict magnified, unaddressed, becomes outer conflict. That's where wars come from. Sexism, classism, racism, every single thing that we see as a loud cultural misalignment stems from this struggle in our own space between the head and the heart, and whether we feel safe and significant within our own beingness or not. Because that's where that void is. If I don't feel like I'm enough inside, my natural side effect is to start looking. But if I can actually shift my attention back within and start taking everything into account from there, I'll actually restore divine order and know that I'm valuable and I'm significant and I'm safe within my own beingness to explore more of what I'm capable of in the world, to be more generous enough to share with others, because I'm now no longer afraid of feeling hurt, because I can feel hurt and use that information to move. I can be more open and vulnerable. I can stumble and be more resilient, because now perfection isn't a mode for me, since I know that life is about being fully engaged in everything. And I think that shift of consciousness is like the mode that's all these experiences are bringing to awareness, so that we look at, if I'm naturally connected to nature, and nature's starting to reveal a reflection like, yo, something's off with what you're doing, it would be wise for me to sit down for a second and check in on what's driving me to do what I'm doing, to then make different choices, to witness the connection be restored outwardly. And I feel like those are the things that are important, because that's the type of stuff that will shift those narratives that lead to modern issues, and issues that have been since the beginning of time, of knowing that because we exist, we matter, and if we matter, we have purpose, and if we have purpose, we can contribute, and all can thrive synergistically. And that's kind of the space that we're navigating when these questions get brought to our awareness of, oh yeah, there are spaces that are now starting to show the lack of our inner being within nature as it presents it to us. But if we shift that in us, nature will show it right back, like, yep, and now look what you're doing, how amazing. So just honor being in space with me. You don't have to use me, just be honored being in space with me. Just converse with me for a minute, and let's see where that leads, and that kind of stuff helps restore that divine order and everything that I found with the work that we do in that space. So I think it's important to say that would be a huge catalyst to what we could create from here as a people.
I mean, that reminds, as you're talking, it's so beautiful. It's such a great way with words, but just even with what's happening on the planet right now, as we're all setting back, it's coming alive. So that's
exactly.
It's like, oh, good, you're all you're homebound. Great, we can come back alive, and mirroring that to us, like, yeah, my talk yesterday was on coming home to us, our own body, our own self, our own spirit. And then, so it's beautiful what you're saying. I'm like, wow, yeah, the planet, I often see it lately, just kind of like, I'm always out in nature. Nature's my therapy. It's my everything. and I just feel like clapping its hands, you know. I just feel the trees are happier, everything's just happier. It's like, yeah, we can keep doing our thing even in a greater way. So thank you for sharing. So beautiful. Thank you. And
Thank you.
all of you.
Yeah. Thank you
We have a
all.
few more minutes. Can I share one last final thought, maybe?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, just in this moment, really listening to each one of you. I'm grateful for my voice in this moment. And I love what you said, Alison, about listening to the Indigenous. I think the power of listening in this time is key. And there's concepts that we in our culture, in modern society, in capitalism, in Western mind-centered programming, we've lost, or we never were taught, and we've lost many generations ago, the concept of true reciprocity. And what Itzhak was talking about how capitalism and money and consumerism is actually detrimental to the sacredness of cultures that, you know, I'm grateful for every experience I was ever gifted to awaken myself and move through density and to release things that came from before my incarnation and were with me from day one. And I would never begrudge that experience to everyone. I pray everyone receives the exact experience they need to simplify their life and stop feeling like we need to consume something from afar to be ourselves, our true selves. I really want to share the message of listening. I have friends who have an organization called Tribute Earth, and they've been having the elders from different cultures speak through these platforms. And I love to tune in to listen to the wisdom keepers and just listen to Indigenous voices, because I have this voice now that I was given from my incarnation, and I don't know everything that the world needs to hear now. I want to listen more, and I want to take the wisdom and share it through nonverbal communication. I love what you said, Alison, about just being in the presence of others and having an energy and a frequency that can just through osmosis, through vibration, awaken and impact and unite and harmonize. So that's really what I'm feeling now, is just to be in the awareness of what feels like truth and not think that we need to give money. And let's give energy, let's give awareness, let's give love, let's give gratitude, let's give tangible resources that can actually improve and not impede upon a further destruction of a global cultural decline, but really unite, starting by localization. Like for me, it's like, what can I go out into these woods and forage the dandelion greens of the season or the mushrooms that are coming about, because I don't need right now to go travel anywhere or import something and give my money elsewhere to affect the culture of somewhere that's not here. Like I need to be giving and receiving this cycle of reciprocity here in this land with these people that surround me, and just be in that present awareness. So I'm really, like I said, it's such a sensitive thing, because it's like, if it weren't for all those experiences of me traveling to the Amazon or traveling to Asia, or like meeting this person and giving my money here and making these exchanges, I wouldn't be where I am. So I'm very, very grateful. And I wouldn't tell people like, don't do something that your heart feels called to. And let's simplify, and let's localize, and let's go deeper into reciprocity and listening of wisdom teachings that can help us not look outside for what we need, but look inside, and stop thinking that we have to take something inside of ourselves, consuming it, just be in the presence of the awareness of it and work on those more subtle realms. So that was really the message that was coming through. I've loved being here. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to weave with you, and thank you so much for allowing me to share and speak and listen. Listening is so key in this time. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yes. These are the important conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate each and every one of your contributions to this collective wisdom. It is, I was saying yesterday, regardless of how many people actually watch this, what we're doing is already affecting humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm super grateful for as well. So with much love and much appreciation for everyone who is watching as well, thank you and take care.
Blessings. Thank you guys.
Thank you.